Israel killed 2 journalists yesterday. One of them is someone who I frequently talk to get updates. He was a contributor to Al Jazeera. I've talked about him before. His name is Hossam Shabat. He was 23 years old. Israel had put him on a leaflet claiming that he was a terrorist alongside 5 other journalists a couple months prior, which was a death sentence. And I reached out to him at the time when I saw that, and he did not seem discouraged. He was steadfast, and till the very last breath, he was trying to put the word out about what was happening to his people, what was happening to the Palestinians. Dylan Saba had a really good statement on this, and I want to read it. He said, Hossam was 23 years old. Israel killed him. At age 7, he saw Israel's ground invasion of Gaza that killed 1,400 Palestinians. At age 10, a major air assault. At age 11, another ground invasion that killed 2,200. At age 19, another massive bombing campaign. And at age 22, the start of this Holocaust. He faced a genocide his entire life as the world conspired to forget and erase his existence and those of his people. We will never erase the moral stain of this horror. Yeah, Israel is deliberately targeting the last couple of journalists that are basically alive in Gaza at this point. Yeah, one of his last messages that he ever posted was actually about his colleague that Israel had assassinated a couple moments prior, like an hour prior to his own assassination. These are real human beings. These are real human beings. They have dreams. Hossam himself became a journalist. Like, he's this is a person who should have gone to college, should have lived a whole life, and it was taken from him. That opportunity was taken from him by the genocidal apartheid regime that only gets to do this with our weapons, with our tax dollars, with our funds, and with our go-ahead. I don't know what else to say. Here's his final statement from his team. He wrote this, and his team published it. This is Hossam's team, and we're sharing his final message. If you're reading this, it means I have been killed, most likely targeted by the Israeli occupation forces. When all this began, I was only 21 years old, a college student with dreams like anyone else. For the past 18 months, I have dedicated every moment of my life to my people. I documented the horrors in northern Gaza minute by minute, determined to show the world the truth they tried to bury. I slept on pavements, in schools, in tents, anywhere I could. Each day was a battle for survival. I endured hunger for months, yet I never left my people's side. By God, I fulfilled my duty as a journalist. I risked everything to report the truth, and now I am finally at rest, something I haven't known in the past 18 months. I did all this because I believe in the Palestinian cause. I believe this land is ours, and it has been the highest honor of my life to die defending it and serving its people. I ask you now, do not stop speaking about Gaza. Do not let the world look away. Keep fighting. Keep telling our stories until Palestine is free. For the last time, Hossam Shabat from northern Gaza. He was one of the few remaining journalists in northern Gaza as Israel shut off the Netzarim corridor and decided to starve out the northern Gazan population leading up to the ceasefire. He was one of the only people who was able to give others information on the accelerated genocide that was taking place in northern Gaza. I don't know what else to say. I mean, this has happened so many times. It's just crazy to think. Like I was supposed to bring on I was supposed to bring him on the broadcast, and I had legitimate worries that having him on the broadcast would put even additional crosshairs on him, and I didn't want to, have any responsibility for that. And Israel went ahead and killed him anyway. It's just insane to think about that. It's insane that this is a calculation that people make. He also was a contributor to Drop Site News alongside Al Jazeera as well. So yeah, rest in power, Hossam Shabat. I'm glad that at least he's now finally found peace. On the other hand, I do want to show you something more positive. If you want to understand the impact of someone like him, like a kid himself, if you want to understand, I just want to show you this. Here's Hossam in his car, in his press vest, talking to a Gazan kid. She says, I swear I missed you. They said that you were martyred. Why? You mean why? When the occupation entered the north. We were about to mourn you, man. I swear. Was it that bad? We missed you. What do you believe in? He asks, and she says that there's no God but Allah. I swear to God that I came down to see you. I swear by Almighty God that I came down to see you. So you missed us. I swear I missed you all. You're a real champ. So then Hossam asks, what do you do? What do you want to be when you grow up? And she says, a journalist. And I was thinking, how am I supposed to become a journalist now if Hossam Shabat were martyred? How am I supposed to become a journalist then? Why martyred? Why martyred then? No, may God keep you safe. But how am I supposed to become a journalist then? He said, we'll make you into a journalist, inshallah. Why is this still going on? Why can't you Americans protest nonstop? We do. We do. Just like the Turks are protesting nonstop against Erdogan, just like the Serbs are protesting against their government, Americans are protesting against the American government as well. We are entering a new era in which I think our cries, our words are not that consequential. I still won't stop. And I don't think that this can continue. I don't think that this can go on. I don't think that this kind of death, this kind of carnage can continue without real consequences for those who dish it out. And while we're having these conversations, while I'm showing you this, there are active initiatives to obviously suppress any kind of student activism. And it's actually seen a lot of success in the United States of America. As you know, I covered the fact that Columbia University completely capitulated after trying to actively suppress the student movements that were trying to divest from the state that's doing this. A perfectly reasonable and moral demand. The bare minimum demand, really. They fired and took away the diplomas of Jewish students like Grant Minor, who was the head of the student union, like the Student Workers Union, a UAW student union there, teachers union, student union there. And they kidnapped Mahmoud Khalil in the dead of the night, a legal permanent resident. And it's not going to end there. Because this issue is so glaringly obvious and so unimaginably cruel, if they can't stop the public from seeing the reality through censorship, they're going to continue trying to suppress speech to the best of their ability. I'll keep using the limited time I have on this earth to bring awareness to the horrors that all oppressed people experience. Because I think ultimately that's what everyone should be doing. Any amount of privilege you have, you should use towards this goal. Many in those Twitter replies are trying to say he wasn't a journalist. How do you respond to those scum? There is no reason to reply to those fucking losers. Oh, he was a sniper. He was a sniper. He was a sniper. Okay, dude, sure. I know. Every single time Israel assassinates someone, they are actually an enemy combatant. Totally. What do you do? When has Israel not fucking lied? When has Israel not lied? They lie all the time. Non-stop. This person was a credentialed reporter who was a contributor to Al Jazeera and numerous other outlets. Israel has never told the truth. Israel bombed a hospital yesterday and then said that there was a Hamas politician that was getting treatment there. They fucking bombed the hospital. They killed a bunch of patients. Israel blew up the last cancer ward in Gaza, which was not an action, the Turkish Friendship Hospital in Gaza. It was actually incapacitated prior. The reason why it was not an action prior is because Israel had militarily occupied the Turkish Friendship Hospital, the only cancer ward in Gaza. All of these things that Israel does with regular frequency are war crimes. That's it. They're acts of terror. They're war crimes. It's genocide. And Israel does it every day. More than 700 people Israel has killed in the past couple of days since it threw the ceasefire away. The Turkish hospital that they blew up, they did a controlled demolition on it. As in, they used it as a military base, and then they placed explosives all around the cancer ward, the only cancer ward in Gaza that could have been operational, but it wasn't because Israel was using it as a military base. And then they did a controlled demolition. Israel also did this. That was in Gaza. Now let's move to the West Bank. Yuval Abraham of Plus 972 magazine, who was the co-director of No Other Land, revealed that a group of settlers just lynched Hamdan Ballal, who was sitting right here only a couple weeks ago, as you remember, as they were in Los Angeles because they were nominated for an Oscar for No Other Land. Settlers lynched him. They beat him, and he had injuries to his head and stomach, and he was bleeding. Soldiers invaded the ambulance he called and took him. No sign of him since. Yeah. He won an Oscar. These are not little accidents here and there. This is a deliberate effort to dehumanize and exterminate an entire population of indigenous people. Okay? Anyone who presents this to you as like, oh, well, every army has like some crazy people that get out of hand or whatever, is fucking lying to you. Either they are the stupidest people on the planet, or they're deliberately lying to you at the behest of Israel, the state that's doing this. Straight up Nazi shit. But we're back to Channel 4. This is the story that they published an hour ago about the last round of bombing that Israel has conducted, killing almost 700 people.
Israel says it targeted the surgery ward at the Nasser hospital in order to kill a senior Hamas official, Ismail Barhoum.
Yes, I covered this already,
He
but I will
wasn't the
continue
only
covering
person
it.
killed, of course. It was said the Israelis a precision strike, but this was a busy hospital, busy treating those injured by Israeli strikes the day before and the day before that.
Many staff are scared, and some of them want to leave the place because they are very scared. They are in doubt that Israelis will target another department soon. So a lot of terror. Yeah.
Attacking a hospital is a war crime, unless it's being used for military purposes, for example as a firing position. Hamas says Barhoum was being treated in the hospital for injuries sustained in a previous strike. Israel also destroyed several family homes in Gaza City. It's not clear why. And what does why mean if you've lost all your toys and books as well as your home? Many Palestinians believe that Israel's real aim in restarting the war is to force them to leave Gaza, as President Trump has suggested, to make them go to Egypt or Jordan or Sudan or Somalia, somewhere, anywhere.
We don't need food or drink or anything. We just want a safe life. We want security. We want a dignified life, to live like other Arab people.
At the morgue, 9-year-old Nouran al-Safi was weeping for her father, killed in one of the houses. Her grief is maybe collateral damage, an unfortunate byproduct of Israel's zeal to destroy Hamas. Or maybe it's the point, to force the people into such despair and terror that they will go and leave Gaza to Israel's new generation of settlers and to Trump with his fantasy.
When did they start admitting that they would target hospitals? El Shifa. When they claimed that there was like a massive terrorist base under El Shifa, the biggest hospital in the Gaza Strip, and then no one ever questioned it, or rather, people questioning it were just like considered completely inconsequential. And then they bombed every other hospital in the process and sieged every other hospital in the process. Israel only does counter propaganda. Israel only does counter propaganda when when the Western world actually pays attention to one of the many different unique, well, I guess not so unique. Israel only does counter propaganda when the Western world pays attention to one of the things that it's doing. They see no reason to even do propaganda when they blow up like the Turkish hospital, for example, and then there's not enough coverage on it. So just because you haven't heard about a hospital that they blew up doesn't mean that they didn't blow that hospital up. It just means that there wasn't enough attention and interest from the Western world on that issue specifically. So they didn't they didn't even see a reason to cover it. That's the thing that many people don't understand about Israel's modus operandi, is that when you're hearing them even make up a reason, when you're hearing them make up a reason, that's because there's a lot of attention on it and people are yelling them about it. And they have to maintain this idea that, like, you know, they didn't mean to do it. Yeah, like the World Central Kitchen situation. Israel killed 300 aid workers, but the World Central Kitchen aid workers were Westerners, so a lot of people got mad about that. So then they had to do a counter-narrative operation on it and just basically lie.
Of a new Mar-a-Lago rising from the ruins. Today, outside Prime Minister Netanyahu's house in Jerusalem, a small group of Israelis was protesting against his decision to restart the war and to sack officials who disagree with him. It's all an attempt to slow down his corruption trial, they say. The man himself did have to appear in a Tel Aviv courtroom, but his testimony ended early because a doctor said he needed his eyes checked. In northern Israel, an attacker rammed people at a bus stop, killing one, in what Israeli police described as a terrorist attack. He was seen shooting wildly before being shot himself. It's the kind of incident that makes Israelis feel unsafe, so many do continue to support the assault on Gaza. In Gaza, they prayed for the dead. Israel has killed some 700 people since restarting the war last week, including children. They show no sign of stopping.
Well, earlier I spoke to Dr. Feroz Sidwa and Dr. Mark Perlmutter, two American surgeons who are volunteering in Gaza hospitals. They were both in Nasser Hospital last night, and I began by asking them what the situation is there.
On the 18th, bombs started dropping again. Israel started bombing Gaza again. That's led to a big influx of casualties, traumatically injured people. And then yesterday, the Israelis actually bombed the second floor of the hospital directly. They were apparently trying to kill somebody who does the finances for the political wing of Hamas or something. They also killed a 16-year-old patient of mine who I had just operated on a few days before and who actually would have gone home today. I was actually on my way down to the second floor ward to change that guy's dressing. So I would have been standing next to him when that bomb exploded. If somebody pulled me into the ICU and just asked for my help, that's the only reason I wasn't standing there.
What effect does it have on people like you who are there working?
Well, I mean, there were 25 plus hospitals in Gaza last year. Now there's 3 functioning hospitals. All the healthcare workers, and why you see so much commotion behind us is there were less than a dozen here yesterday. Israel commanded all the healthcare workers in the north above the corridor to come south, and so they were all evacuated. So there's no foreign healthcare services available in the north now. So, and we anticipate they'll be evacuated from Al-Aqsa, where I just came from soon. But that pales in comparison to the re-implementation of the blockade of medical supplies. Al-Aqsa is almost a functionless hospital, and the remaining small hospital in the north received as many casualties on the 18th bombing as this hospital did.
Well, what were you missing at Aqsa?
We were missing soap. I would wash my hands in tap water before surgery. We would wash the patient in tap water before surgery. And even when we had betadine, the infection rate is insane. But because the conditions are so hard. But we really have a paucity of supplies that would make any surgery safe. We were sewing people together with sutures that expired in 2017.
Yeah, we are too here.
So now that they have bombed the hospital in this latest round, I mean, are you treating people wondering when the next missile is going to hit?
Always. We came here with the intent of doing reconstructive surgery to fix the problems that a year's worth of annihilation by your and my country's bombs had done to this population. That turned around quickly last Tuesday with the severe bombing. It was mass casualty events that Feroz can address better than I. Mass casualty events started all over again, just like last year.
Now, before the resumption of widespread bombing on the 18th, we were mostly, like Mark said, we were trying to make up for the past 15 months of injuries that needed some reconstructive work, and also just catching up on medical problems. I have colon cancer, I have gallbladder disease, whatever, but it obviously wasn't able to get taken care of for so long because of the displacement and the war and the starvation, the whole thing. But now they're back. We're back in mass casualty mode again. You know, I looked at the numbers the other day just because I was a resident during a surgical resident during the Boston Marathon bombing. The Nasser Medical Complex, just this one hospital that we're at, that has about 450 beds, has about 6 surgeons, and has 3 internationals volunteering here right now. We saw the same number of patients as the entire city of Boston saw on the day of the marathon bombing. We performed about 20, I think it was 20 or 25 operations. And furthermore, half of them were in kids. That was not the case in Boston. It's way harder to operate on children than it is on adults.
So the claim that the hospital is being used by Hamas, I mean, you're there, you know, are they there? Are they using the hospital as a base?
No, I have gone literally everywhere at any time that I like. Every door is open and locked. I've been in every building. This is a 3.
It's so insane. For the record, that journalist is not an asshole for asking that question. He has to ask that question. He knows the answer to that question. Stop, chatters. The reason why he's asking that question is so that they answer that question.
Building complex. I've been in every building, on literally in every room and every floor. First of all, again, like you know, you can see here, it's impossible to be by yourself in a room in the Gaza Strip anywhere, let alone in this hospital. There's no way to keep secrets here. There's no way to do. There's no way to hide anything like that. That's the hospital is not a military venue in any sort.
Israel has stopped all humanitarian aid and medical supplies coming in to Gaza now. So what are you running out of, or what are you going to run out of, and what's going to be the impact of that?
Everything. We have to. I fixed an elbow fracture on a kid tonight, and instead of using pins or plates and screws, I used drill bits as pins. The device that we use to make the holes in bone so we can put a screw, all I had were drill bits, and we left drill bits in him. We literally don't have enough standard run-of-the-mill orthopedic equipment that I would have used in 1960.
Where's the guy? Did they get banned? Oh, you banned the guy who was like, Hamas uses civilians as a shield guy? I wanted to see what the classic attitude was. They hear American doctors being like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life, dude. And this guy goes, Hamas hides under hospitals, schools, and mosques. Israel's imperfect, but Hamas killed innocent civilians. Children and babies covering their bodies, burned in ovens. Quit simping for terrorism. I agree this war should end because innocent Gazan citizens are dying for the actions of Hamas. The killing needs to stop on both sides. There's only one side that's doing the killing. For the past 16 months, the fuck are you talking about, dumbass? God damn, what a fucking terrible piece of shit this guy is. Both sides. I don't like Israel either. Both sides, though. There are no both sides in a genocide, dude. What are you talking about? Motherfucker says, oh, I'm not pro-Israel. I think Israel is done wrong as well. But also, I'm going to use one of the classic ways in which Israel justifies bombing fucking mosques and schools and hospitals over and over again. Immediately after, the two doctors that are American, by the way, are actively telling you there's no fucking Hamas. There's no like military operation happening in a goddamn hospital.
To repair.
And added some fucking idiotic like hoaxes too. There were no babies being placed in ovens on October 7th, dumbass. Shut up.
Repair fractures adequately. We still have some sterilization equipment. They couldn't give my child antibiotics today for his surgery.
Really?
Right.
Oh.
Can you estimate how long the hospital
Remember
can keep functioning?
I'd be guessing if I
Right.
did, but I can tell you it's if it was more than a week that we could survive without or not survive, if it's more than a week that we could function to any standard, I would be shocked, honestly.
Thank you both very much indeed. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
4-year-old Janine drifts in and out of consciousness. An Israeli airstrike hit her home last week while she was sleeping, killing her mother and 25 other family members. Bleeding from her brain, she desperately needs surgery. But her doctor says she won't survive that surgery in this Gaza hospital. They don't have the specialized equipment that's needed. For over 3 weeks, Israel hasn't allowed anything into Gaza. No food, no fuel, and no medical supplies. A blockade that is pushing hospitals here to the brink once again, endangering their ability to treat patients like Janine.
So this is the drugs that we have in the department.
Dr. Mohammed Mustafa, an Australian doctor volunteering at Al Ahli Hospital, says they are quickly running out of basic pain medications and anesthetics. And this is now the main hospital in northern Gaza. He says diagnostic equipment is also in short supply. The ER has no ventilators, one working ECG machine, and only one heart monitor can measure blood pressure.
When we have these drone attacks and these missile strikes, we could have up to about 100 patients in here and only one area that can do blood pressure.
And so when crisis hits, you can feel this already strained.
Honest question, I thought all the hospitals are bombed and destroyed in Gaza. Does this look like a normal hospital to you? Like when you look at this, because there are parts of the hospital that's a standing structure, you're like, oh no, this must be like a lie that people are saying that all hospitals were bombed. Do you know how large hospitals look like normally? This is the hollowed out shell of one of the remaining places that you can consider a hospital. I don't know if you noticed, but like the fucking blurred out children are not even on beds half the time. They're on the ground. They're being operated on the ground. Why do you think that is the case? Perhaps it's because it's not a fucking real hospital at this point. Perhaps it's because they've destroyed every hospital, including this one.
100 patients in here and only one area that can do blood pressure.
And so when crisis hits, you can feel this already strained hospital buckling under the weight of it all. On the night Israel breaks the ceasefire with a massive aerial attack, every inch of this hospital is packed with casualties. In one corner, a relative pumps oxygen to keep his loved one alive. In another, a child screams out in pain.
It didn't stop for about 4 or 5 hours. We were getting bodies continually coming in.
Dr. Mustafa is 2 weeks into his second volunteer tour in Gaza, where the lack of resources is forcing him to make impossible choices.
I remember I was putting in a chest drain into a man who had quite a collapsed lung, and I felt someone grab my ankle. And it was because there were so many bodies. There was a woman underneath the bed that had half a leg missing, who was holding onto my ankle, and she was asking me to help her. And
what's your take on the death toll undercount inconsistencies? Wonder if you can break some of that down. There are numerous numbers of the estimation of the death toll. The Lancet medical journal has published 2 separate numbers at different times. Their estimation is the total number of dead. There's a reason why when Donald Trump says, oh, there's 1.7 million people in Gaza now. Okay. The official number of the Gazan population before October 7 was 2.2 million. There's a major disparity. When the Palestinian Health Ministry talks about the 50,000, they're talking exclusively of confirmed casualties that Israel has directly killed with bullets or bombings. There are many issues with an accurate assessment getting an accurate assessment on casualty numbers when Israel has deliberately destroyed the hospital system in Gaza. This is part of the reason, because war, especially in our century, is not only conducted on the battlefield, it's also conducted through information warfare. So in an effort to silence the people that are giving you real-time estimates of the cruelty that Israel is subjecting people to, they will just go and kill them. But there's also a tremendous number of deaths due to starvation, due to other health complications that happen when you shut down the entirety of the hospital system, like people that die from cancer, people that die because they don't have access to medication. When you factor in all of those people, the number is far larger. Far larger.